What's going on, Phleb fam? My name is Khalil Thomas, and welcome to the Phleb Funnels Training. In today's training, we're going to be talking about your phlebotomy hook, story, and offer. Okay, so this is going to be the secret strategy to turn your mobile lab services into a irresistible lab offer that your patients, customers, or even your audience will not ignore. Okay, so you're going to learn how to craft magnetic hooks, powerful stories, and value-packed offers that attract your dream patients, build deep trust, and get more people, patients, customers saying yes to your mobile lab services without having to beg, chase, or even give away discounts, okay? So this is going to be perfect for mobile phlebotomists ready to stand out, increase conversions, and grow a purpose-driven brand that books itself, okay? So you will definitely learn the real difference between selling a service versus making an offer. You're going to learn how to build an offer that feels worth 10 times more than the actual price. You're going to learn the number one reason why your phlebotomy funnel isn't converting and how to fix it fast. You're going to learn how to tell a story that connects and converts with your patients. You will learn you'll learn the secrets to creating attention-grabbing hooks to any platform, and you're going to also learn your offer brainstorming blueprint, which is going to be needed because you're going to have to create a list of offers to present to your actual customers so that they can see the value in the services that you're offering, okay? So by now, you should definitely know exactly who you want to serve in your phlebotomy business, and you know where exactly these people are located. So for instance, if you're dealing with cardiovascular patients because that's your niche, you know that we can target Coumadin clinics. You know we can target smoking cessation places or people are, you see what I'm saying? So you know where these people are at already. So we should already know our niche. We should already know our population. Now it's time to create some bait. Meaning we need to create something that's going to get these people's attention. So we need to create bait right now, Phlebs, okay? So you should already know your patient population. You should already know your niche. You should already know who you are targeting right now, okay? So we can jump right into the hook, the story, and the offer for your mobile phlebotomy business, okay? So remember this framework because it's going to be the same throughout everything you do for every piece of content, piece of ad, everything, okay? So keep this framework with you forever. Hook, story, offer. Whether you're doing ads, email blasts, or email marketing, landing pages, opt-in pages for your phlebotomy services, hook, story, offer. Okay? If you're doing a phone call with a customer or patient, hook, story, offer. A webinar, a live training, hook, story, offer. If you're doing an upsell for a patient, hook, story, offer. The framework will be the same throughout phlebotomists, okay? And here's the key. If something in your funnel isn't converting, it's almost always because of the hook, story, or offer, okay? And if that's off, that's why it's not converting, all right? So we need to make sure we're understanding what the hook, story, offer is for your mobile phlebotomy business. So now, we have the hook, story, offer, but we're not going to do it in that order specifically. We're going to go and jump right into the offer. So we're going to kind of work backwards, okay? So we're going to start with the offer. I want to know what your offer is, okay? So we're going to break that down first. That's the very first thing we're going to create is the offer, phlebotomist. So let's just say you're offering basic lab testing. Like, let's just say a CBC, okay? You know the CBC, complete blood count, right? So that alone is a commodity. Screenshot that right there, okay? Screenshot it, post it on your stories too. Let me see it, tag me. Make sure, let me know that you know what this means, okay? That you've been taking this training, okay? So it's a commodity. And what that means is you can get that CBC done down the street to a patient service center, a laboratory can do it, another phlebotomy company, like anyone can do this. You know, there's nothing special about, a CBC, meaning not one person's just able to do that or perform that procedure for a patient, right? It's a commodity. Anyone can do it. You can find any place to do that does it, right? So what you want to do is you want to be able to stand out and attract the right patients, right? If that's what you want to do, we need to do this. We need to transform that commodity, that CBC, right? It's a commodity. We need to transform that commodity into an offer, phlebotomist. You're about to see how that works, okay? So the goal of an irresistible lab offer, phlebotomist, is to make your phlebotomy services feel like it's worth 10 times more than what you're actually charging. Don't forget, business is not just business, if that makes sense, it's more of psychology too, because we have to understand how do we get people to pay? How do we get people to listen? How do we hook them in? So it's a lot of psychology whenever it comes to business. That's why when we start entrepreneurship, we can't just jump into this, just getting an LLC, EIN, and insurance and thinking that we're business owners. we got to pour into ourselves too, okay? And as we pour into ourselves, we're going to understand the psychology of business and what we need to do. Because some people are like, hey, I don't even want to give away some things, but understand that reciprocity is you have to give some things out or give some things away in order to receive them as well. So there's strategy, there's psychology, there's so many different tactics on starting any type of business, but you have to understand for this specific business model, phlebotomist, we have to turn that commodity into an offer. And a lot of phlebotomists have phlebotomy services, but they don't know how to make an offer for that lab services. So we're going to break that down and we're going to understand that, okay? So let's just say, for instance, before I even get into this, I'm going to give you guys like an example on understanding how this is going to work. So let's just say, for instance, here, I have a shoe or a flip-flop. So I have a flip-flop right here, okay? So this flip-flop right here, I want to sell it to you for $10,000. Would you take it? Yes or no? Probably not, right? Probably like, oh, it's not worth it. The Balenciaga flip-flop? Nah. 10,000? Nah. But what if I told you that I have a Lamborghini outside, brand new, 0 miles, and I want to sell it to you for $10,000? Would you take it? You probably say, heck yeah, I got the money for that, or I'll find it. I'll ask some people around, right? So what's the difference between the two? It's the value, okay? So the value is what we're actually doing or creating or understanding, okay? So when you have that shoe for 10,000 and a Lamborghini for 10,000, when you showed the shoe, you didn't have the money or you couldn't find it. You weren't even worried about finding the money to spend on a shoe because it wasn't worth it. It wasn't valuable. But for the Lamborghini, you're like, hey, I'm going to go find it. I'm going to go get it because you know the worth of the Lamborghini. It's valuable, right? So you're going to want to scatter around, ask some friends around to get that $10,000 to get that Lamborghini because of its value, right? So follow me. So if I'm charging $100 for a lab test, I want to make a lab offer to make it feel like it's worth $1,000, all right? And that way, when I ask for 100, right, it feels like a no-brainer bargain, all right? So I'm going to give you an example. Here we are. So this is going to be considered perceived value. Write this down, screenshot this, because that's what we're looking at or understanding is the perceived value, okay? So we're creating this so that our patients can see the value in what it is that we're offering, okay? But a lot of the times, phlebotomists, you haven't even stacked your lab offer high enough. You'll just say, I offer lab work services. You think that's value right there? You think that's enough value for a person to say they're okay with spending $85, $100 with you? You see what I'm saying? So you just having that saying of, I offer lab work services, I make it convenient for people, that is not putting value on your mobile phlebotomy services, okay? And don't forget, value is going to outweigh the price. Screenshot that because it's so important. Again, value outweighs the price. So that Lamborghini, the value outweighs the price. They didn't care about, it being, they weren't really worried about finding the $10,000 now that it's a Lamborghini because they understood the value of it. That makes sense. So when we understand that the value of something outweighs the price, we need to start making our things more valuable so people aren't even worried about the price anymore. Y'all ready to jump into how to understand that? Let's do it. So we're going to create an irresistible lab offer. And the first step to do that is to look at the services you're already offering. So again, we know our niche, we know our population, we know our target, okay? So I want you to do this, all right? I want you to think, what else can I include that will help my patients get better results, okay? Think about what your patients need before, during, or even after the lab draw, okay? And then what can you add to that makes your experience or their experience, more smoother, more convenient, or more informative? So think about these things, okay? We're brainstorming now different types of things that we can add on to our offer for phlebotomy services now. You see how that works, okay? So I want you to make a list and come up with some ideas, okay? And we're going to break this down right now. So this is where the magic comes. So I'm going to pretend like you are a customer and I'm the actual phlebotomy service. I'm the phlebotomy business, okay? So you pretend like you're a customer. So I want you to just literally just reverse everything in your mind and just say, hey, I am ordering lab work services right now. And I am about to pitch to you services so that you can now understand how this works to create value for your services so that patients can actually say yes to you getting lab work services or yes to actually wanting to get services from your phlebotomy business, okay? Here it goes, okay? So first things first. Hey, how you doing, Brittany? I see that you need lab work services. So if you don't mind, can I just sit down and break down what everything is going to include? If you don't mind. Okay, perfect. All right, so we're going to have a professional phlebotomy draw. So they're going to be a certified phlebotomist come over, and they're going to actually collect your sample, and that's going to be about $85. And then we're going to have an at-home collection convenience fee, so that we can have your lab work services done at a hotel, college dorm, work area, wherever you like. Okay, and that's going to be a value of about $50 for that specific procedure. We do priority sample processing, so that's going to be about $120. So our phlebotomists are going to actually have centrifuges, so they're going to be able to process your specimen 30 minutes right after it clots, so that we can make sure the integrity of the sample is a-okay whenever we have it shipped. So we make sure that the processing is done right away. We're going to also have secure sample transportation and handling, so that there's no spills or leakages, so we don't have to come back and do a redraw or a recollection, and we don't want to inconvenience you. So that's going to be a value of $60. We're going to have personalized lab panel review guides. So of course, we as phlebotomists, we don't diagnose at all, but we can actually give you a review guide on what the lab test actually means. So you can understand the values, what's high, what's medium, and what's low, so that you can be on top of your health. And that's going to be a value of just $40, okay? We're going to have a dedicated phlebotomy support team. So if you have any questions, you can give us a call. Again, we're not here to diagnose you. We're here to educate you and make sure you know what's going on with your health. So if you want to know what these CBC numbers are or what they mean, we can definitely break them down for you so you can understand your values and your numbers and also your health. And that's going to be a value of just $50 when we have this specific service given to you. Shipping and lab coordination. So we're going to be taking care of that. That's only $25. So we work with FedEx, UPS, and we have your sample sent over to our partner laboratories, and we deal with the logistics. So we'll have it sent over to the laboratory, and then you'll get your results via email, text message, or a phone call, okay? And again, that's going to be a value of $25. And then last but not least will be the same day appointment, Brittany. So now if you wanted to get a stat done, we can absolutely do this with you as well, okay? So this is going to be a value of just $70. So Brittany, we're going to have a grand total of just $500 for lab work services, so we can make it convenient. You'll be educated. Your specimens won't, spill. You don't have to redraw. It's going to be the perfect one-stop shop, okay? But guess what? We're doing a special offer just for you, Brittany. So instead of you spending $500 for lab work services, we're going to actually give it to you for just $99. Y'all see how that just worked? Y'all see how you're sold. Comment sold if you're sold. Sold. You see what we just did? The amount of value that we just added to this offer stack. Listen, you see that, right? You see how that just changes everything. You have so much value that the money and the price doesn't even matter. You see? So the more value you have, the more of that person is going to say yes, especially if we take that big price off to give them or offer them a price that we originally do want. You see? So again, stacking your offer like this takes you from just another phlebotomy service or another lab service to someone who truly cares about the outcome. So we need to start making some lab offer stacks, because I know that did something to you, okay? I know that kind of like made you think about things a little bit differently, okay? Because we have to have an offer stack. Don't just say that we offer lab work services. That's not enough value. Where is the value that you're putting into these patients so they can feel like it's worth the money? All right, so that's going to be the lab offer stack. All right, phlebotomists, you must master making lab offers. You must master it. Not only your niche, but the offers are going to be humongous. Do not be a jack of all trades, master of none. Please, you want to master your offers. So phlebotomists, it's time to get good, really good at making offers. Okay, this is one of the most important skills you'll ever develop if you want your funnel and your phlebotomy business to succeed. Every single part of your funnel will contain an offer. So when you create your phleb funnel, every single funnel will have an offer, okay? So a post on Instagram might say, click here to watch a video that shows how that shows you how to get lab services done at home, okay? And then the landing page might offer, give me your email and I'll send you a free checklist to prep for your blood test. And then the other funnels are the upsells or webinars, even your follow-up emails. They're all going to contain offers. Every single one. Offers, offers, offers. The more offers, the more value it is, the more they're not even worried about the price because you have so much value to offer. Does it make sense? Is it clicking? Comment in the comment section if it's clicking. Come on. Manifest this stuff, y'all. I want to make sure that y'all understand this. And if y'all understand this, comment the word clicking. Okay, I want to make sure it's clicking. All right? So Offers are not a one-time thing. You'll be creating them over and over and over and over and over again, and they should evolve as your business grows, okay? So now y'all see this right here, right? That's a bridge in the middle. In the very middle is a bridge. And that bridge is going to be your lab offer. And your lab offer is the bridge between your phlebotomy services and your patients saying yes to your phlebotomy services. So we need your lab offers created so that we're able to have your patients get lab work services from you. That's the bridge. Your lab offer. It's in the middle. We need to make more value. We need to have more value for our patients. We need to create more lab offers. All right. So phlebotomists, here's your next assignment. Brainstorm. I need you to create a list of as many ideas as you can of things you can include in your lab offer to help guarantee your patient's success, okay? And then after that, I want you to look at your brainstorm list and ask, what elements from this list can I combine into a single, powerful, irresistible offer, okay? And then what can I include that makes my services feel like it's worth 10 times the price I'm asking for? Brainstorm, brainstorm, brainstorm. And I have a little quote, well, not a little quote, little thing I want you to remember too, okay? So the more value you can stack, the easier it is for someone to say yes to your price. I'm gonna read that one more time because I want that to digest, okay? The more value you stack, phlebotomists, on your value stack or your irresistible lab offer, right? The more value you have on that, the easier it will be for patients to say yes to your phlebotomy services. Yes to your phlebotomy price. Yes to what you charge. Give more value. Add more to your offer. Make it valuable enough to where the price don't even matter because you're giving them so much more than just a lab draw. Just clicking, comment clicking. Now we're going to talk about the power of your phlebotomy story. So everybody got a story. Okay, everybody has a story. And I don't want you to just talk about your story. I want you to show these patients, show these people, show your audience, show your niche why you are uniquely qualified to help them out. All right, because everyone's going to have a story. It can be something that you are going through that's related to cardiovascular, that's related to oncology, right? But now you have a story to help out other people. Okay, that's your gift. Your gift is to tell your story. But if you're sitting there not saying nothing to nobody because you hoarding your gift, catch that one. You are hoarding your gift because you're not telling you're not even explaining, you're not sharing what you've went through to unlock other people's blessings and gifts because you're hoarding your gift. You're not sharing, you're not giving out that value, you're not showing them how you overcame some disease, some diagnostic, some whatever. It could be a testimony from a loved one, a family member, a cousin, a patient that was close to you, that was like a mother or a father. You can tell that story, but you have to be able to share it to inspire other people so that they can now do what it is that you've done to overcome that problem that they're going through. Ooh, y'all see that bridge? I remember that bridge from earlier, right? Well, guess what? This bridge right now is going to be your story. Your story is now your bridge, phlebotomist, okay? I'm going to say that again. Your story is now your bridge. Bam, there we are, okay? So the story is the bridge between where your patients are and where they want to be. That makes sense? Your story is the bridge between where your patients are and where they want to be, where they need to be, where you need to be pushing them to. So your story that you're hiding, that you're hoarding, that you're not sharing because you feel embarrassed or nervous or you don't want to share that side of you, you're not going to make that bridge. Your bridge is not going to connect. It's not going to get your niche, get your population, get your audience. You need to be able to have a bridge, and that's going to be with your story because it's going to be able to be relatable to your patients. They can hear you, they can understand you, they can, trauma bond, because they know exactly what you went through because they're either going through it right now, but they never knew there was a solution or an answer or something that's preventative that can help them out, but they won't know until you explain your story. And then once you explain their story, now those patients that were over there are going to go on the other side because you now have a story that's inspiring them to get to the next level, to cross that bridge. Come on. Your story is what makes your offer more than a transaction. It makes it transformational. All right. It's not a transaction no more. You see, it's not just about the money. Your story is what makes this transformational. You see? So when you start a phlebotomy business and you have no story, you're doing this for the profit, obviously. You're doing this for the money. We got to be able to transform lives, transform mindsets, transform health. Okay, phlebotomist. So your story is what makes your offer more than a transaction. It makes it transformational. Let that digest, okay? So here's your next challenge, phlebotomist. So I want you to know what your story is. What is it? What have you been through? Has it been cancer that you beat, that you battled? Was it a loved one that battled it? Was it an actual patient that you were close with that battled it? And now you're making this your life story, your life's mission to help out other people catch this disease at its early and benign stages before it becomes too late. Why are we waiting until stage 4 to try to beat this thing? Why can't we catch it at stage 1, at stage 2 at the most? We want to be able to have that option. But we need to know what your story is. We need to know how you overcame it. We need to know how your patient overcame it so you can unlock other people's blessings. All right? Why did you become a phlebotomist? Explain that. Let's talk about it. Was it because that loved one that passed away? Now you wanted to take this step into entrepreneurship and become a phlebotomist because had grandpa got that lab test done, we would have been able to catch this disease at an early and benign stage. So now I want to become a phlebotomist so that I can actually do draws in my community so that I can help out other people so they don't go through the same thing my family or I went through with my pop. You see? So why did you become a phlebotomist? Next. What made you start your mobile phlebotomy business? Again, it started because that loved one, that patient, you see? So we have to be able to create this story, come up with a story that's going to be compelling, that's going to be relatable, how you had a problem and you overcame it. So what is your story, phlebotomist? You got to have these people, these patients, your customers trust who you are. This is where the credibility comes in. And then also, what struggle or gap did you see? And how are you fixing it? So the struggle is in my community, we have a high rate of cardiovascular disease at 88%. Last year it was at 78%. So that lets us know it went up 10%. That's not good. That's not normal. It needs to go down. My problem is people are passing away and not even realizing that they're dying inside because their cholesterol levels are so high or their LDL is so high and don't even realize that they're smoking cigarettes. But now we have a solution. We can know our numbers. We can check these things at an early and benign stage. We can actually get lab work services. We can create panels for these patients. So again, business is all about finding a problem and having a solution for it. We found the problem in our community and the solution is to do preventative care, phlebotomists. Now we need to have a story on how you're going to actually get there with your mobile phlebotomy business. Is it clicking? Comment clicking if it's clicking. All right, phlebotomists. Now we're going to be talking about the phlebotomy hook. Okay, so we got to hook these people in. We got to take that hook and try to hook these people in because we were trying to grab their attention. The hook's job is to grab attention long enough for your patients to lean in and hear your story. All right, and each story you tell can have so many different hooks, okay? So you can still talk about that loved one that went through that specific niche you're focusing on, but we're gonna have different types of hooks to hook those patients and people in. Because you gotta remember, your patients are scrolling on Instagram, and there's so many different ads and advertisements out there that are throwing hooks at them, trying to get their attention so that ad can tell their story so that they can actually make an offer to that person that's watching. You see how it is? Because you're going to start studying ads a little bit more now to see how did that specific ad get my attention? What hook did they use? Because you're going to want to use that hook because if it got your attention, it's going to get your patient's attention. So let's look at an example of a hook. So we can do a video opening at the very top, and it says, my father never got the lab work that could have saved his life. So now I'm bringing that care directly to your doorstep. Bam. That's a hook. So you got a person's attention. They're listening, okay? Another one, a calendar shot with booked mobile appointments, okay? So every visit I make is for the patients, but also for the one I lost. This is bigger than me. You see these hooks? Is it clicking? So a carousel post title, how losing my loved one to heart disease led me to start a life-saving business. Another good hook, a childhood photo present and a present day image where you got one photo and then another one. He missed one lab appointment and never made it to the next. I turned my pain into purpose. Here's how. All of these are beautiful hooks. You're getting these people's attention, okay? A black and white image holding a framed photo of their loved one. I lost my mom to something that could have been detected early. I started this mobile lab business so that other families don't have to feel what I felt. Another good hook. This is a headline hook. The disease that took my sister and a lab test that could have caught it. These are hooks that we are throwing out there continuously until we get a bite. And here's the last one. A photo with hands over the heart in scrubs, okay? So this business isn't about money. It's about mission for the one I lost, for the ones I'll help. Hook, 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 hook. We need the great hooks. Get their attention, have your story told, and then we're going to have an offer at the very end, okay? And these are all hooks, and each one gives your story a different flavor, right? And then the goal is to keep throwing out hooks until one of them hits, and until one of your dream patients stops scrolling and says, wait, this is for me. Wait, they're talking to me. Wait, this is what I need to do. You see what I'm saying? So we have to throw those hooks, but we got to understand it first, okay? So we understood what the offer was, the offer stack, right? We understood the story, what we need to create in that story so we can be relatable, right? So we can have people trust us. We can now be able to have people understand us as well and be able to have that safe space for those types of patients, depending on that niche you're focusing on. And then we now understand the hook. How do we get their attention to want to listen into us or listen to what we have to say so we can tell our story so that we can have an offer given to them, okay? Super, super huge. So that's going to be the hook. Now, if you're ready to start your own phlebotomy funnel, I actually have a software that you can actually download so that you're able to actually see patients, send out invoices, do your email marketing, you can do your funnels, your website, all that's going to be here. So everything's going to be included into it. It's only $67 a month, and it's needed if you want to have a thriving mobile phlebotomy business because this is a one-stop shop. So we use the CRM for almost everything. You can use it on Instagram, Facebook. It's funnels that's going to help convert, okay? Because you're going to understand how to use funnels. You're going to understand how to create opt-in pages, how to convert your patients, how to create an email list. Like, this is a one-stop shop. So in the comment section, you can just comment the word funnel, and then you'll have access to this, or there's a link at the bottom for you to sign up as well. But if you don't have any other questions, guys, I will see you guys in the next video so that we can turn our sticks into stacks with your mobile phlebotomy business. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.